what is success? Success equates to preparation plus opportunity. Welcome everyone. Today we have a very exciting group of people here, and we're all going to be discussing about career and the future of career and all that things, right? So I'm going to just get you guys to introduce yourself. Is that okay? So Sam?
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha. So I call myself a career futurist because I work with clients to achieve career success in their career journey by equipping them with up-to-date market trends as well as career-related soft skills.
Awesome. Thank you, Gene.
I call myself abundance life coach. Abundance, and there are three components: money, mastery, and mindset. Yeah, so that's what I focus on when I help others.
Thank you. Chuen Chuen.
Hey, my name is Chuen Chuen. So my area of specialty is agile leadership. In a nutshell, how do you be a relevant, effective leader no matter how your context change? And my latest passion is about uncovering how great managers bring about happy workplaces.
Thank you. So today, I brought you guys here because really, I'm very curious about this whole idea of ideal career. And a lot of the people that I see or even come up to me and ask me about careers, it's always finances. Finances, they're like, okay, we need to buy this, we need to buy that, and then we need to be there. So I want to just hear from you guys, like, what do you feel is a definition, your own personal definition of an ideal career?
I just want to say that at first, it's almost like choosing wife or girlfriend, right? A lot of things have to do with criteria and prioritization, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when I was much younger, it's mostly starting pay, right?
Yes.
And the prestige, right? Yeah. So I almost got into law actually. Yeah, because my grades thankfully were quite good. Yeah. So the criteria was like quite obvious. Go into law because it's good money. Sounds good that I'm a lawyer. Yeah,
so very good. Parents sound super happy.
Yeah, my late dad was very happy that I actually applied for NUS law and I got in. Yeah, and then after that got national service, and then I changed my decision. Yeah, just after ORD.
Oh my goodness.
To mass comm, journalism and TV, and my dad frowned. Yeah, and that's why I realized that there's other criteria, right?
Yes.
Not just money and prestige. And that started my journey of thinking about what's the ideal career, which included your own personal preference, like something you find joy doing. Yeah, but then after that, I got married. And then with 3 children. And then now another criteria, stability, work-life balance.
Yeah.
So life becomes very complicated. So I've been thinking about what is the ideal career for about 20 plus years now.
Still thinking.
Wow, still thinking.
It's still
evolving. It depends on your age also, right?
Yes,
and
exactly.
Season of life.
Yes.
Yeah, and with elderly parents, right? All these.
Yes.
Then you start to think like, do I really want to pursue this until I give up time with elderly parents? Yeah. So, wow, it is complicated. Not so straightforward. I think by now about 6-7 criteria.
Right. Well, I think your parents would have flipped when you actually jumped from law to mass comm.
Yeah, my dad especially.
So
he was a Nanta graduate,
Nanta is what?
As in NTU. Yeah.
Okay.
But in the good old days, is no T, just
okay.
NU.
Right.
Yeah, and then always a elitist kind of person. So look at me like, what happened to you? And then my brother, by the way, I have an elder brother who is the traditional path one. Like engineering, then work for Singtel, then Microsoft, then Amazon. So like, what's wrong with this other son?
Always one son. I'm also the same.
Okay, a bit yeah.
Thank you.
I think seasons in life, like you mentioned, is spot on. What we need in life would change as we learn, grow, hopefully mature. The criteria too, and everyone's circumstances are different.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, for me personally, it is knowing yourself, knowing what you want in life. Like people say, I want to be happy.
Yeah. But very vague. Everybody wants to be happy also, right?
Money makes you happy, right?
Money
Yes.
makes you.
How does one be happy? That is where we need to tap into our DNA to uncover what are you passionate about, what are you great at, what makes your soul sing when you do it.
Wow.
And you can't discover it until you have lots of experience and you evaluate it. And our priorities would change. And undeniable, we are always subjected to pressures from society,
Yeah.
the norms. Do we conform or do we be the maverick?
Yep.
Can I be a combination of both?
Mm.
So it's that ongoing dialogue with ourselves to uncover what does the ideal career look like.
Yeah, so Julia, I understand that you were teaching for a very, very long period of
Yeah.
time. Right? How many years?
14.
14 years. And to come out from teaching is a very big jump. What do your friends say?
Are you crazy?
Yeah, because super stable, right? Super
Yeah.
stable.
Midlife
so,
crisis.
yeah, midlife,
Yeah. Those who are very brutal, they were like, are you crazy?
yeah,
Then those who are very caring, are you okay?
yeah.
Do you
Mm.
need mental
Counseling,
therapy and counseling?
yeah.
Do you need to see a shrink or
Yeah.
something? What happened?
Yeah.
Are you triggered? Are you traumatized? Things like that. It's very difficult. The analogy I like to use is, have you seen this film of an old person wanting to get on the escalator? So I remember this one. The auntie
I
was
saw a
like
TikTok one, is it?
drag the husband on the escalator, but the uncle is afraid.
Yeah.
So he's like 1 foot on, then he cannot get on.
Yeah.
Then he try to get on, he steps
Yeah.
off again.
Yeah.
So actually that was my state for 5-6 years
Wow.
of the last 14 years of my career.
Mm.
You are like, am I all in or am I out? Am I all in or am I out? That limbo state where you are neither here nor there. So it's very difficult to make the switch. But ultimately, it was the fear of having regrets at the end of life.
Mm.
That state I wanted to avoid that made me change.
Right. So that was that. But what was that criteria that changed?
What was that criteria
Yeah.
that changed? It was more the realization. So I had a health issue in 2014.
Okay.
So I was pushed into the operating theatre. First time undergoing GA,
Wow.
and I was asked to sign the letter of indemnity in
Oh.
case you like never
Yeah.
wake up,
Yeah.
right? And then I'm like, oh shoot, that's it. If my life were to end in that moment, what do
Wow.
I have
Yeah.
to
MOE lor, you have MOE.
show? Like that's it, So oh shoot. So I actually made a wish. If please let me wake up, okay? If I wake up, I promise I will make full use of my life. Can make full use of my given talents. It's
Mm.
kind of like this saying, you have the gift, but you never open it
Mm.
in your life. And
Yeah.
it took me at that time 30 plus years old, more I was mid-30s.
Mm.
Then I realized that, oh no, I better open the gift and start doing something about it. So realizing that I am mortal,
Mm.
that
Wow.
we do not live on forever,
Mm.
that time is limited. Yeah, better
Yeah.
carpe diem, seize the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On my phone there. Wow.
Carpe diem.
Yeah. No, on my phone there's this phrase, memento mori. So memento mori basically means remember you must die.
Oh.
Yes.
So what
Wow.
is the background is that if a king goes into battle in Rome last time, and then when they come back and they have victory in the
Yeah.
battle, and then there's this person who is behind them whispering memento mori. They understand that everything is fleeting. They remember you must die. It's almost like carpe diem, but it's more of like we are mortal.
Mm.
And what do we want to do in that mortality? Is that success might not always be there. What is meaning to you? What is important?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like I've been reflecting on this whole idea of like, hey, actually tomorrow if I pass away, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, who do you impact? And then
Yeah.
was your life worth it for you
Yeah.
personally?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you make a difference? Right? Did you even make a difference? Did you even make
Yeah.
a dent on the world?
On the
or not?
universe,
universe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the funny thing also is that when I ask so many different people, some people don't want to make that kind of difference. Some people, their difference is their family,
Ah.
and their dent in their family is so much more important than the dent in the universe.
Mm. Mm.
But for some of us, it's the
Yeah.
other way.
Yeah.
It's like yes, family is important, but I also want to impact more people.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like really criteria, and
Yeah.
also different people are different.
Yeah.
Sam, how about you?
Yeah.
Ideal
Like-
career.
I never really thought about this thing called ideal career when I was younger. I just remember that I need to do well in
In
life.
studies,
Yeah, I need to do well in studies. I need to get a decent job. That's pretty much I understood. But after working a while, a few years, I realized that this is not going to work out. Reason being is because if the person above me doesn't leave, there is no
it's
progression.
stuck.
Yeah, and I think in especially in today's generation, it's very clear. You know, you have 5 generation working in a corporate setting. It's very hard for you to have that kind of growth if you really want it. And I actually agree with what you all have been mentioning. I think your life phase changes, and so your priority changes. So there was this period of my life whereby I thought I would settle down. So I think time flexibility was very important to me. So that's why I decided to take the plunge and go into entrepreneurship, thinking that I will have time flexibility.
Total opposite. Total opposite.
Who lied to you?
Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, you're on also.
Yeah, I guess. But the thing is, probably you can have that autonomy, rather than the clock in, clock out system.
Yeah.
So that got me started on entrepreneurship, and I think there was no turning back ever since. So I don't really see myself as someone who aspire to climb the corporate ladder. In fact, it's something that I know very clearly it's not something that I look forward to. So I think ideal career to me is enjoying what I do. That's very important. And at the same time, so one very basic benchmark when I have for myself when I was younger is if I wake up dragging myself to work, I know I need to quit already. That was my very basic minimum benchmark. No coaching, no learning, no nothing. If I hate going to work, I know I need to quit very soon.
Well, that's like majority of people, man.
Monday blues, Tuesday blues,
But
Wednesday
I
blues.
literally will quit.
But that's
But I really enjoy my work when I do my work. So if I know that I stop enjoying, I will quit. Yeah. So that was the basic benchmark.
That's the funny thing. So our grandparents' time, that looks like, wow, something is wrong with the person.
Yeah.
With that kind of criteria. Because last time our grandparents' time is really just you
Survival
have worked very
mode.
good already. Right?
Yeah.
Then the only way to excel in work is that's why through education. So that's why degree holders are so important last time.
Yeah.
But of course that's the only way. Now, we are hearing that actually more and more people, this whole idea of self-actualization is more and more important. And I think sometimes the older generation is like, hey, what do you mean? Like you're really like just work lah.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's interesting because they see the new generation of people as why do you have so many criteria?
Yeah.
Why can't you just have criteria about this? You do
Financial
your
stability.
duty.
That's
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
You have a job very good already. Then just stay there for the next 20 years. But nowadays, like I think our children and all that will never have like
Very
20
different now.
years.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
It's
like
tough because if let's say someone 10, 20 years my senior, stay in his role for 20 years,
Yeah.
I won't get my progression for the next 20 years. And I will not get a salary bump. That's for sure. I mean, that's how organization works, right? So I think when the older generation look at the younger generation and call them job hoppers, sometimes I feel that the term can be used quite loosely. Yeah, you need to understand what is going on behind it and in the macro space.
Job evolvers, not
Yeah.
hoppers.
yeah. But I think the whole idea of 20 years, 10 years, no more already lah.
Yeah,
Nowadays, it's always like 3 years, 5 years, and even the idea of like the more you hop, the higher your bump.
Yeah.
Right? You don't. And so many things about like, actually hopping is good. Then for me, when I think about hopping, the reason is that actually if you hop, then you are being exposed to more things.
Yes.
And if you're not exposed, you will never know.
Yes.
So my thinking when it comes to this whole idea of ideal career, you will never know. So my analogy always for ideal career is this: it's like food, right? So last time when you're younger, your favorite food at 10 years old is what?
French fries.
Yeah, that was a whole marketing gimmick. Yeah, even that, just like a Happy Meal. So last time 10 years old, our food is very different. Our favorite food. Then
Yeah.
after 20 years, very different. Then 30, then 40, we have different kinds of food
Yes.
that we feel that actually this is my favorite. This is I really like
For
this.
the season.
Yeah,
Favorite for the
because
season. Yeah.
you haven't tried others.
Yes.
So another way I look at it is also fashion. Like
Mm.
we evolve our fashion according to what we feel. Last
Yeah.
time, so when you look at your old photographs, right? Like, it's like
Oh my
I had
God.
Aaron Kwok hair.
You had
I had Aaron Kwok
Wow.
hair. It's like really like that. Then just cut here, and then it's like the mushroom
Get him
kind
to
of.
dance.
Yeah, because like yeah. Oh, yeah. But then, as you evolve, then you know that actually that doesn't suit me anymore because
Yes.
something inside changed.
Yes.
And then I start to explore. So the idea of exploration, I feel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is very important for a person in their career. However, HR doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Bosses also doesn't like that. So what do you think? What should bosses and HR do? Because they know that exploration is important.
Yeah.
What do you think they should do then?
HR.
Accept the reality.
yeah. Besides that, accept the reality definitely is true. But what else? What
I
can
think
we
a
do?
lot of coaching
Yeah.
is necessary. I mean, it's a relatively new word in Singapore, right? I mean,
Very,
fitness coaching has been the longest time,
Yeah.
but career coaching, life coaching has been quite new.
Yes.
So I realized because just the past week I've been working with some like hotel, banks, stock exchange, and so on.
Mm.
I realized that the system, like just now you talk about a system there, is very rigid, and it doesn't allow individuals to explore,
Yeah.
to explore like, hey, maybe this, maybe that.
Yeah.
Because it brings a lot of instability
Yeah.
to the system.
Yeah.
Back to like Matrix movie kind of thing, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So I feel that this will continue to be a wrestling match for 5-10 years, and it should be. I mean, it keeps the organization alive, right? Yeah, where HR needs to think about coaching individuals starting from, let's say, onboarding, right, 20 something years old. What is the path you want to explore for this season? Exactly like what you
Yep.
say, or maybe now I want to learn more about sales or data analytics or whatever. And I think companies nowadays are open to that. Certain large companies also they allow them a bit of like 3 months here, 6 months there, right? Yeah, and I personally highly encourage that. And then at the end of the day, maybe 2 years later, they need to choose something to stabilize, right?
Yep.
At least for another season, because by then maybe they'll get married, maybe they have their first kid.
Mm.
So I don't think it's healthy to have 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. It's not so healthy, and they themselves will feel that they are not progressing also, right? Yeah, and I feel that there's another season where they will learn that time to be a HOD in data or in sales. Yeah, and then at some point, like maybe 14 years later, they'll feel like, I've been HOD of sales for 10 years. I think enough lah. Time to have midlife transition, not crisis. And do something else. If they are not retrenched, then they will actively maybe resign or plan or talk to HR again and say like, is there any opening for other things? Okay, a bit of personal story here.
Yep.
So I was very bored with my role. Singapore Stock Exchange, by the way. So I studied journalism, TV, right? Yeah. I work for Singapore Stock Exchange. And then I told my department head, I say, sorry, I don't think it's suitable for me. I want to go to MediaCorp or SPH or something. Then they said, Chotomate, okay, let's explore something else. And then when I changed department, it was called Investor Relations, which is not media at all. But I loved it. So I traveled with the CEO to Tokyo, to London, New York. And then it was a brand new thing for me. I had to take notes on what does ROE means, equity stakeholding. And there's a very new thing. So I felt like a child again, learning again. So I feel like when I look back, my career has been quite colorful and helped me grow. Not stable at all. But at some point, at least I stayed 7 years in the same company lah. So not exactly job hopping also.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So all these are the data points that help me understand this whole thing called career progression.
Yeah. What do you guys think about what can HR or bosses do now?
I think this is a collective effort. So firstly, the society is starting to embrace the fact that, all right, if you want to retain talent, if you want your business to be competitive, you need to have career pathways within the organization. And that must have some level of transparency. So if today I'm in the marketing department and I realize that I want to pick up some tech skills, I'm able to upgrade myself and I'm able to do internal transfer. So in career terms, we talk about career mobility or internal mobility or internal transfer. So I think big organizations are starting to realize it. If they want to retain talent, they want to save more money and they want to make their employees happier, they have to have that framework. So it's a new thing. It's very, very new. So in recent years, the Career Development Association of Singapore has been trying to work very closely with, let's say, the governing body, like let's say with NTUC Union, to work with organization to create that framework. So once that framework is up, then it's a lot of coaching involved, coaching the HR, coaching the bosses, and also coaching the employees, because I think if you want to have asking, you also need to know how to ask properly. You cannot go to your boss, hey, I want this. Yeah, I think that communication must respect must still be done properly. So I think it's really all hands on deck if you really want this thing to work out well.
It's funny. The whole idea of career mobility is sounds very sexy and sounds very good, right? But I've also spoken to some very big tech firms like, hey, actually, yeah, we do have that, right? But then I ask a little bit deeper, it's like, no, actually, my boss won't let me go.
Oh, okay.
So they have it as policy, but they don't implement. So even though they say they want to and all that, but it's like, wow, I need you as this head count to do this. You leave and all that. So it's extremely disruptive. So how? Because even though you might have that policy, people might not believe you because they've
Yeah.
seen through facts that actually this doesn't happen.
It's true, because I think the people leader at the
Yeah.
top must be the first level to embrace this. Yeah, if they embrace this, they see this as a high level, big picture that will work for everyone, then they will be very encouraging. But you're right, there are a lot of high level leaders may find it a struggle to let go of people, because that means to say they need to find people to train again, and that's work,
Yeah, I
right?
notice, at least from my own experience, companies generally have two kinds of hire. One kind of hire is people they can develop into leaders, and for those they actually encourage career mobility, including in schools, right? And then the second kind, they are functional. Right? For example, I was after stock exchange, which really treated me as someone to be groomed as a leader, and therefore I switched departments several times with their blessings. And then once I changed to the another bank, which I shall not name, I was treated like a machinery.
Function.
Because I mean I received double pay, poached over, and therefore they say, hey, I'm paying you this much to perform this role. Right? So they are not thinking of me of, hey, how do I have mobility so that they groom me? Just perform this very well, and we'll give you bonus. Don't keep quiet about mobility. So I realized, but at the same time, in that bank, I see other people having that mobility. Sent to London 3 years, Tokyo 2 years. Of a certain race also. I mean, that company belonged to a certain country, and people of that nationality have mobility. I am not of that nationality. I have no mobility. So that's my observation of some companies.
It's true. I mean, things like this still happen in
Yeah,
organizations.
These are human
Unspoken
factors.
laws,
Human factors.
Yeah, human
I
factors.
mentioned school because I volunteer in some schools, and I know some principals, right? Because they are groomed to be maybe the top echelon of Singapore. So they 3 years in this elite school, 2 years in this elite school. Some of my ex-classmates also are in that league.
Yeah.
But for HOD of science or physics, can 25 years do that one? Right?
I think it's quite
Yeah.
variable. In any large system, it's the leadership mindset that makes the biggest difference. So going back to your question, what can HR do, right? To engage the 5 generations in the workplace, we cannot address these issues or challenges with any policy. You have to, so as HR, then play the role of business partners, be HR business partners, equip the people leaders with, or the leaders of leaders with the most up-to-date mindset, understanding workforce needs, understanding neurodiversity. There's no one size fit all. Like a policy that works well in bank A might not work in bank B. How we run school A and school B would be different. And I think everyone is in that constant state of finding themselves, right? The perennial question we ask ourselves in our lifetimes is, who am I? And who am I tend to change. So a metaphor that someone shared before, how do I find the passion in my life? It's like taking a bottle of Coca-Cola, and you are shaking it. And you are trying to see which are the bubbles that come up. So it's like how you experience 32 careers before landing this one, right? If otherwise you would have gone for 34th, 35th, 36th.
Yes.
Right? So it's that state of agitating the bottle of Coca-Cola, but not everyone will be agitating the Coca-Cola. Some of them just want stability.
Yes.
Some people want mobility. I like to think of it in terms of what is your responsibility as a people leader. Then be guided by that principle. To me, it always trickles down to a few things. Are you helping people think better and do better? Think for themselves, think for the team, think for the organization. And are they doing better? Are they going to leave you, be it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? Sometimes I think even 3 to 5 years in the job is a bit long. By today's standards, it's like
Today's standards, yeah.
half a year people will be thinking, oh, should I change my job or not? You know, they need that constant learning. So however long they stay with you, by the time they leave your hands, have these people become better employees, better human beings. So I think about it as the overarching one I think about is employability. Have I made my team member more employable? So it's not about come here, be the specialist, check these boxes, make sure I pay you double and you can give me 2-3 times more outcomes. And not about, okay, certain group, I want them to move or not move. I think it is a constant tension between what the organization wants people to do and conversation between employees and their leaders. What do they really want in their lives? We are not in the state where we always have a choice, right? So most people are employed, but you always have a choice to say, I want career mobility. I would like to have progression. Can HR also educate people what does progression mean? It doesn't mean promotion. It's not possible. There aren't that many levels to be promoted into every year. If I work 30 years, I can't be promoted 30 times. Right? So what else would constitute this definition of progression? So it's a state of constant flux, which HR is in the best position to help leaders and employees come to a uncomfortable balance. You know, like everything is imperfect, but it's in perfect balance. We need to get into that state because it cannot be fully stable. Once that happens, I think we get too comfortable and we stop learning.
I think one of the greatest challenge when I see this is that if you are so good in this, I train you up from 4 upon 10 to 8 upon 10. You tell me now from A, now you want to do B, and you are 2 upon 10. Then I got to put in so much effort to train you to be competent above average. That means 6 upon 10. Then afterwards, you leave again to something else. Then it's the idea that, wow, there's a lot of training and development and coaching that needs to be done, right? Which organizations don't have that whole department to say that, hey, I'm going to train you for that.
Yes.
Because they have, everything is functional. And if you want to, it might be even easier to, it's either they set up that whole department well, or really you just have to leave. And then you go to somewhere else where they will train you for that. And I think that's the challenge for businesses and all that. They don't have the time to train people.
I think that's the whole mindset shift that's needed. Upskilling someone, ensuring that they stay employable is not only the job of the L&D department. It's not. I give you an example. We can go for a simple holiday. We just went, like my family and I, we just went to Malacca. We could have just gone in, come out, don't learn anything, right? But it is the questions that you ask the kids that will help them learn. Be it about the history of the place, the human-to-human dynamics that they have observed, their preference about the kinds of food that they have tasted, places that they have experienced, to uncover more about themselves. And it just takes you 10 seconds to ask a great question. So what I'm seeing is for leaders, they are handicapped because they don't ask great questions. And we are talking about crazy good questions. They are like crazy good questions that will totally blow your mind and change your perspectives.
I notice your questions are very people-oriented questions. And because I meet a lot of business leaders, their questions are very profit-oriented questions. So they ask great questions. You know, like, can you do this at lower budget? Can you please cut off 20% of your team but still produce the same result or even double the result?
But those are close questions.
Okay, not so crazy, not so crazy
questions.
Yeah,
but that's more developmental questions.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's coaching questions. So the idea you're sharing also is the idea where a leader needs to start to assume the role of a coach and assume the role of actually very much not only your boss but a career coach. That means I'm in for the long haul with you to be able for you to succeed in your career. And you might choose somewhere else and I give you my blessing. How many bosses are like that?
Very few. So when I wrote my book, very sad, you know. I said good bosses. How many of you have good bosses? I said I can count on less than the fingers on one hand in my 14 years. But those that I work with, they really transform my life. those 6 months, even if 6 months, 1 year, you work under their leadership, you can really fly. You can really fly because they make you think about things that you have never thought of before. That's why I say the role of a leader is to help people think better so that they can do better, put something of quality in their heads so that they can judge for themselves. This struggle about, I promote you, I try so hard to groom you, and then you got to go. Think about the healthy detachment. Healthy detachment. Okay, I think this quote from Richard Branson will give you some comfort. Treat people so well that they won't leave you. Treat them so well that they won't leave you. But if they leave you, it's okay. Give them your best blessing because nowadays boomerang employees are quite common. They will come back in some shape or form.
Yep.
Right?
So organizations, from what we share, is that they need to start to change, and the processes from the last 50 years, they don't have, are not equipped for that. They need to be coaches, they need to develop, even not only the L&D team needs to develop, but their leaders themselves also need to develop within there to say that, okay, yeah, you want to go there, go and try it out. How about then the individual? Like if you were to, let's say somebody comes to you now and then like, I'm actually lost. I'm earning a lot of money now, but I'm actually lost. I don't enjoy my job. We all have our own criteria when it comes to this. What practical thing would you ask them to do to try to find that ideal career? Personally for you, if you were to advise somebody.
I often share my story as a reference point. Yeah. Then of course, then I ask questions further. Yeah. I mean, okay. First of all, people usually approach us because they know us, right? Yeah. So I want to respect their time, and I say, okay, this is my journey. It may not be your journey, but as a reference point. So I realized that just to continue my story, right? I have to ask myself like, I haven't shared I lost my job. Yeah, so I lost my job, right? 2013, I got retrenched, I got replaced. Right? So your project of being irreplaceable really resonates with me. Right? And then that year, which was my worst year ever, was also my best year ever. Right? Because that year I got to reflect about my identity. Like, okay, now that I have lost my job, so what really, as an individual, what really do I want? And now I have no more HR department. I cannot say, HR didn't develop me. No, nothing. Of course, I can blame government, but let's not go there. So I decided, okay, I better go for coaching. Right? So at the time, I was not a coach yet, but I engaged coaches. And then they asked very good, powerful questions like what you just did, right? The people manager oriented kind of questions. And then I started reflecting deep within my life and what sparks joy in me, what gives me a sense of purpose, which actually is a little bit different from what sparks joy. I can play guitar and spark joy, but does it give me a sense of purpose? Maybe not, right? Yeah, and then of course I have 3 children. So what sparks joy gives me a sense of purpose and can keep my family intact, right? I don't want them to like
financially
at least financially. I mean, not millionaire or anything, but if they can go to school, they can go for holiday once or twice a year. Things like that. Very practical concerns. Yeah, but at the same time, I want to grow, right? So that's another thing I ask myself. So after ticking all the box, I decided, okay, let's embark on this thing called coaching. So at a ripe old age of 39. I started a brand new career of coaching. And again, no HR, no anything. It's just a coach asked me a question and I decided. And I think at the end of life, it's all about decision, right? Or no one else can say, hey, Eugene, you made the wrong decision to be a coach. If only you were a VP, SVP, EVP, wow, imagine your family now can go to Princeton, Harvard. Like, sorry, are they my children or your children? Also, I have to ask within myself. Of course, my wife and I need to come to a harmonious decision. Yeah. So to answer your question in a more short way, it's like I think all of us, whether you're in a company, out of a company, reflect really deeply these few things, like back to the criteria thing, right? Yeah. And then find some kind of confluence and make a decision, because there's no perfect decision. If let's say if you had stayed in MOE, maybe you could have been a leadership position and still impacted a lot of lives, right? So I don't think there's a right or wrong decision, but we need to decide at the end of the day. Right? We cannot be like floating for 6 years, saying like, I want to leave. No, I want to leave. I think that person is making a wrong decision by not making a decision.
The global survey that I'm running now on leaders people love, I have found that people they care very much about the emotional aspect. So what makes them happy in a job? For example, caring boss, empowered. Okay, I'm very
All the
pragmatic.
positive emotions lah.
Yeah, but I'm very pragmatic. I tell my coaches, don't choose a job because of the boss, because this boss might leave anytime. Are you gonna jump ship because the boss leaves, right? So try to expand your personal what do you call this, resource, right? Ways in which you can be so-called happy, more fulfilled. Can you put yourself out there to make more work friends? That work friends is one of the criteria. If growth being challenged, then can you put your hand out for jobs that will stretch you? If people don't know you exist, people don't know what you're good at, then the opportunities cannot come, right? Best opportunities are those that come knocking on your door. So the personal branding part is extremely important. Are you able to articulate your value and what you want to do? Right? And I think soft skills too. Soft skills. A lot of people I work with, they're uncomfortable with networking. Relationships, however, is your most valuable currency. And we need to start that as young as possible. But so you can hide in your little cubicle, or maybe you work remotely, you don't meet anybody in the office.
Tough, very tough.
Oh, very tough. You're hiding behind the screen every day, typing away. So I say, get out there, get to know people. Ask them, hey, what's the most interesting thing happening in your life right now? And you will gain new perspectives, and you will realize that there are people who are putting themselves out there, and you wonder, what if I can be like them too? And what is that one step I can take immediately that will inch my way forward, helping me inch forward. So one of my best bosses, so he taught me this thing. We don't know where we are heading. It's like pushing a ball. Even if you don't know, just push it forward. If you know where you're going, you can push 1 meter. If you don't know, maybe 10 cm. If you're completely clueless, can we at least push it forward by 1 mm? As long as we keep pushing, and one day, as we keep thinking, exploring, absorbing, asking great questions, the answer will show itself.
I like the analogy. My analogy is similar, but it's the moving car. Moving car is easy to direct. Stationary car you can't direct. Right? And I think it's the same thing as what is success. Success equates to preparation plus opportunity. And the opportunity will never come if you are not prepared.
Correct.
So that's why people say like, when the student is ready, the master appears.
Yeah, exactly.
But the student is ready. But the masters are actually everywhere already. They've always been there.
Yes.
And that's why when the student is ready, the master appears. But the funny thing about it is that for a lot of people, they don't ask what they want. They don't know what they want. They're not sure what to ask for. So if a boss says, hey, Jason, you're very good in A. In my mind, it's like, wow, I hate doing A. Jason, I think you should do A, and then I think you should be promoted to A. Most of the people will be like, okay, I trust my boss. Because they don't know what to ask the boss to say that actually B is something I prefer. We will just follow them. And I coach people to a point where they are like, wow, they just keep going to what other people say. And they don't have the internal compass. So one thing I feel was that, number one, they don't even ask. A lot of Singaporeans, they don't even dare to ask things, right? Number two is that if they ask, they don't know what to ask because they've been confused by everybody else. So personally, for me, when I think about that, is that they need to ask. I do it in very binary lah. There are things that energize you, and there are things that drain you. Right? Energize would be things like, okay, you can do Marie Kondo sparks joy, or tasks that you look forward to and tasks that drain you. A very binary thing is that you should ask for opportunities to tasks that you look forward to. And within there is your strengths, your passion, a lot of things are inside there. But it's just like, I don't know why I like Excel, but I want to go into Excel. I don't know why I like design, but I want to go into design. Because the trap is that if you are good at something, but it drains the heck out of you, people still see it as a strength.
Correct. It becomes
Other
zombie
people.
fight.
Yeah, zombie fight. That means you're good at what were you
Yes.
good at just now? The last time?
Or in the
Before
bank.
you went to
in the bank.
no, before you went to you said you want to
Or
change job.
law, and then
You said you want to change
journalism,
job to
TV, then
yeah, you wanted to
investor relations. Right?
yeah, so you want to go in investor relations, but you were
Yes.
good in the previous job.
Yeah, which is marketing.
Yeah. So the funny thing is that actually things that the myth that one of the things that I am trying to break is that you can be damn good at something, but it drains the heck out of you.
Yep.
That is not your strength. That is your weakness,
Mm.
or it's a learned competency, or we call it just basically you learn it lah.
Yeah.
You can do it lah, but
Yeah. Not
it doesn't-
natural.
It doesn't wake you up in the morning.
We call it the burnout skills.
Oh dear.
Skill.
That's
Yeah.
very sad.
Yeah, so if let's say
Oh my
you,
God.
but a lot of times people wouldn't know that is
They don't
actually
know.
their burnout
Because
skills.
you're good at it.
But then in resume, they keep writing it. So you realize that
Oh.
at the end of the day, you keep getting the same kind of job and you still feel burnout because you are focusing too much on your burnout skills. So in career-wise, when we help them to sort out their skills, right, we will help them to identify which one is their development skills, which one are skills that they would be energized to do things about it, or which are the skills that they are really so goddamn good at it but they hate it like hell. But
Wow.
but they always put a lot of those in their resume, or when they pitch, or when they sell themselves, or when they market themselves, and they end up having to do the same role,
get the same opportunities.
using the same skills, and they
Yeah.
are constantly burnt out. So we call
Right.
it the burnout
I
skills.
notice usually people who go into specialist roles like engineering, accounting, I happen to meet some of them. Those are likely to have that kind of burnout skills. Right? Because if like general degree like mine, right, mass comm, I don't actually feel anything wrong to switch out of mass comm. But for them, somehow they feel like I have spent 4 years doing mechanical. What engineering you say you did?
I did mechanical.
Well, you are like one of
Really
the rare
different.
people. Most of them is guys in mechanical
Very
engineering,
different,
right?
huh?
No, I think during my generation, the ratio wasn't as bad as to like 1:10. Maybe
Oh.
it's like 1:4.
Oh, one is for still kind of
Still,
Pharmacy is the other way, yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
Oh.
No,
So I have a
but I think
question.
like for yours is that it actually doesn't matter what job. Yeah, because we all have 10 things we do. You
Oh,
can be
right,
an engineer, right? 10
yeah, that's
things,
true.
2 or 3 things energize you. The rest just kind of like you're okay, and then
Oh,
something.
you mean as an engineer, there are 10 things you
Yes.
do
Yeah,
lah.
because
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
As an engineer,
Yeah,
not only
yeah,
must
yeah.
I talk to them, I also
Yes,
must
yes.
maybe there's a presentation part. Maybe
Yes.
I'm energized doing the presentation,
Yes.
but so it doesn't matter what job. It's just that as a person,
Yeah.
before you can even ask for opportunity, you need to be damn sure what that opportunity is. If you keep just asking for burnout skills more and more, you will get more, and then it's even worse.
This reminds me because let's talk about engineering for a while.
Yeah.
So engineers, as they progress, okay, don't talk about the junior one. Let's say 10 years, 15 years as an engineer, they will be invited to lead a team, right? At some point, if they are good, yeah. And then a lot of them come to me. They start to ask questions like, "Hey, but this is taking me out of my engineering skills, right?
Yes.
Because every day, 24 hours. So when they start to coach a team of 20, then they feel a little bit guilty, Right? They feel like, hey, wait a minute."
Engineers are very responsible people.
Yes. So they feel like, hey, wait. I'm no longer spending time on engineering.
Yeah.
This is like talking to people all the time.
Yeah.
They are now better in coding or whatever than
Yeah.
me. And they start to feel guilty. And that's where they need coaching and transition.
Yeah.
And also, some of them who find clarity will find that, hey, this is the new me now, identity.
Yeah.
Right? Never mind about engineering skills, outsourced to anywhere in the world. Right? I'm no longer needed in that space. Now, with my age, with my experience, time to be a people manager, not a profit manager, but a people manager. Right? But that is another group. They will go to HR and say, hey, so sorry. Yeah, I don't want to manage 20 people. Can I go back to my specialist role of really doing calculation? Yeah, and again, no right, no wrong.
No, right.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
that's their life, then they do it lah. Because some people
Yes.
are built to be individual contributors. They just
Yes.
want to be people managers because
Yes.
the pay is better.
Yes.
That's the only reason why they go there. Because like, how else can I go up?
Yes.
Same thing in school. There's a specialist role and there's a
Yeah.
leadership role.
Yes.
But sometimes as a leadership role, the pay is big difference lah. Very big difference.
I think the fulfillment is the biggest difference if you ask me.
Yeah.
So building on what Eugene is saying earlier, when you get good enough in your job as an individual contributor, you get promoted, you are asked to lead teams. There's an engineer who came out with this term called Peter's Principle. Peter Principle, his last name is Peter, meaning when you get good, you will get promoted, and when you get promoted, the skills needed for you to thrive at the next job level will be different. And that's where a lot of people start doubting themselves. Actually, there's nothing wrong with you. You just don't have the skills yet.
Yes.
So, questions to ask yourself: how can you put yourself in a zone of learning so that you are supported to gain these skills? Because if you don't gain the skills, you will get stuck.
Yeah.
When you get stuck, that's where you're at Peter's plateau, meaning that's the terminal stage of your career. You will not advance further. What I'm finding is that people, when they start struggling, they want to give up. So fear of failure is a big theme in my work. I'm sure in Jason and all our work as well. I want to encourage people. There's no innovation if there are no failed experiments. When you left, when you started out your entrepreneurship, did we like flip tarot cards and say confirm plus chop that we will succeed? I'm sure never. But I'm kind of like, I'm going to take a leap of faith, but it's not impulsive. Right? It's a calculated move because you know what you're capable of. That gives you energy to be resilient. Right? There was one thing I wanted to ask, which was about
Burnout skills.
burnout skills. Yes, burnout skills. Because like we say, self-awareness, know what you're looking for. So another frame of reference is don't wait to be told what you can do. You do not need permission. When I run workshops, I'm sure you find this too, people won't ask questions. Why don't we ask questions? In the Asian side of the world, it's very difficult when you don't open your mouth and ask questions. Like, we don't want to sound stupid, right? And they're waiting for that implicit permission in order to like start breathing and start living, right? So, okay, one of the common cases I see, and I want to ask Samantha, say coming from psychology point of view, right? What if somebody doesn't even know that, oh, I utterly hate this piece of work?
Lack of awareness. Is it?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I know I'm not happy, but I don't know why. And they don't know how to get themselves out of it because that's all they know. Keep doing this job, keep doing this job, continue making themselves miserable. How do you snap them out of it?
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm not a psychologist trained.
Okay,
I'm
sure,
still
coming
learning.
from that.
All right, but I think in counseling side of things, I believe it's also very similar to coaching. We have that fundamental belief that every one of us will have that solution. So even as a coach, we don't come across and we tell you what to do. You know, we have discussion, we have conversation, and this is the action plan. So a coach is very forward looking, right? So from if let's say someone is really so stuck, I think at the end of the day that you may take a couple of sessions to break the ice, to really get the person talking and sharing. It could be the past that is hindering. It could be something that he or she is worried about that they haven't have enough trust to talk about it. So I think there's no, at least from my understanding, there's no quick fix to get someone to open up or to get someone to quickly understand why they are feeling what they are feeling. But I think one thing that is important is self-awareness is important, but I also think that self-acceptance is must go hand in hand. I can be aware, but I don't want to accept it. Yeah, that is really very bad. So it could be a point whereby, let's say talking about career, I see that you are promoted to a people's leader. I know that I hate to manage people, but I still compare, you know, and I think if I don't get a people leader, I'm a failure. So your success reflects my failure. So there is that kind of notion sometimes in society. So it's important for us to be aware that yes, I don't want to be a people leader, and that's fine. And I accept that I don't want to be a people leader. So there's no need for comparison. So there's no basis of comparison. And then I go and figure out where else is my strength and where else is my skills. But I think in today's context, because we are all moving so fast, we don't have that space to sit down and like, okay, I know this is what I'm aware of this, but I don't want to accept it, or I'm trying to fight it. So I find that a lot of people are resisting it also. Yeah, which is which is very ironic, right?
Mm.
So you talk about self-awareness, but the next part is self-acceptance. You accept that this is who you are, and then you can grow from there. But a lot of people try to change themselves, that this is not who I
And you
am.
go in circles.
Yeah, they keep going in circles. So that could be one of the reasons why people feel stuck as well, because they are comparing apple to orange, and there's no basis of comparison. So one of the things that I always ask my clients not to do is don't compare. If you really want to compare, then you need to ask yourself, is the result that someone else is getting, is it what I want? If it's not what I want, then what the hell do you compare in the first place? If it's what you want, then a healthy question to ask will be what he or she is doing, whether that method, is it something that I can modify and implement in my own world that makes sense to me? Right? If let's say I have no kids, I cannot expect a mom with 3 kids to work the way I work. It won't be fair. Right? So I think there's too much comparison without a lot of thinking, like what makes sense and what really will work for me.
And we don't even know, right? That
Yeah.
we
Subtle,
are
very subtle.
subtly
It's the Facebook friends that
comparing.
you scroll and he's like, hey,
My
what?
God. Okay, now I understand the digital
wellness.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to cleanse your social media
Yes.
Correct.
once in
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
So, as Samantha is talking, I have all these funny images in my head. I must share them. So I think first, it's like if life were a game of chess, all about strategies,
Yep.
maximizing.
Yep.
Are you the pawn? Are you the chess piece, or are you the chess master?
Wow.
Second image was if life were a report card, if you have a report card for life, who is grading you? And if you say your happiness in life is because somebody checks the boxes and gives you A1, 99.9%,
Yeah.
then you have a successful life. Okay, fine, so be it. But most of the time, we don't want to make ourselves miserable, right? We have to get to a stage where we accept that this is me, this is who I am, this is the path I choose for myself,
And that's okay.
and that's okay. And what matters most is that I am happy. Okay, not in a selfish sense. I
Yeah,
believe if you are happy,
It's
you
a
can
contentment
make-
sense.
It's like at peace, you are in
people.
peace. You are
Yeah.
at peace with
At peace.
yourself.
Correct, correct. And I'm sure your family, your loved ones will find you a joy to
Gradually,
be with
gradually,
when
yeah.
you are a happy person.
Actually, on top of just now you mentioned that people fear of failures, I think people fear of success as well. It's a different perspective.
Oh no, I think I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
There's this quote by Marianne Williamson.
Did she say something like that?
Yeah. What we fear most is not that we have darkness. What we fear is the light in all of us. What if I become successful? What if-
Translate. I don't understand.
Okay, I must find the thing.
Yeah,
Somebody.
yeah,
So
yeah.
in my layman
yes.
understanding, people
Yeah.
fear failure. We understand why lah, got rejection,
Yeah,
disappointed.
yeah.
Why people fear success is also because, right now, common people will say like rich people is so and so and so. There's certain stigma and
Oh,
stereotype.
yeah.
Yeah, if I become
BMW drivers.
BMW driver, Merc drivers, Audi
Merc drivers.
drivers.
These two. But Audi also now coming.
Audi coming.
These are always think they own
Tesla
the
in the
road.
pipeline.
Tesla is something malfunction. Then
The Bentley.
no lah, you see so few of them. It's the
Yeah.
PM drivers.
Yeah.
You're saying don't want to be judged,
Anyway.
lah, is it?
No,
Stereotypes lah.
So one thing is one part of a group of people, they may fear success is also because if I become successful, subconsciously when I become successful, maybe I will be judged by the people I love most.
Okay,
That
okay.
could be one. If I become successful, maybe I will lose the kind of relationship.
Right.
If I become successful, I will lose certain freedom. If I become successful,
Yeah.
means to say I need to put in so much effort.
Yeah.
So it's a very subconscious thing that people don't talk about. So I wrote it in one of my articles. Yes, generally we don't like failure, but we also fear success. So that's why maybe sometimes in coaching we say some people are self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your whatever
We
limiting beliefs and what's not is holding you back.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the part. If you are embracing success, you understand what does success mean and what can success do to you and the larger community or even your loved ones, just your family. Then maybe that perspective is different.
Just
I just want to be the same with everyone. I don't want to be that
Yeah, you
one.
want to be the one that sticks
Yeah,
out.
sticks
because
out.
that
They
will be
cannot
cut
chop,
off.
right? Yeah.
Hey, what's the
Escape from
Chinese
parents.
poem?
Yeah,
No, there's a Chinese
yeah, I
poem.
was going to say the
There's a
Chinese
Chinese
one.
poem for that.
Okay, we will translate, okay? 同中求异，异中求同. So it's the same tension in the workplace as well. Okay, what it means is when we are in a team, we want to stand out.
We don't want to stand up.
We want to stand out. There's a yearning to want to stand
Yep.
out. But once we stand out, we want to conform.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that state of constant discomfort. Do I want to be different
Yep.
and unique, or do I
Mm.
want to be accepted
Mm.
and
Be like everyone
uniform, be
else.
like
Yep.
everyone
Yeah.
else? So
Yep.
for workplaces, it is the same.
Same.
It's a struggle.
We have to cater to people at different stages.
Mm.
One day they want career mobility. Next day, I just want to have stability, get good in my job, and just continue this path. Suddenly, I will change my mind. Completely normal. So
Yeah.
we have to build the organization such that it is agile, flexible, a lot of moving parts, and we are able to reconfigure very quickly.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I just this past week I was talking to someone about this. Basically, in every organization there should be 5 kinds of people if you hire correctly lah.
Mm.
Yeah, this is the Maslow's hierarchy. Yeah, but I just reframe it lah. So at the very low level, there are people who are just earning a living. There's completely nothing
Nothing
wrong
wrong.
with that,
fine.
right?
That's
You don't
very
need
fine.
like 20,000 employees all want self-actualization. In fact,
Yeah.
it brings a lot of disharmony to the organization.
Yep.
Right? You need people to really do their job, 6 o'clock, go back. Like receptionist, like what self-actualization do you
Mm,
want?
mm, mm.
But can you get rid of the receptionist?
But the
No,
funny thing is
right?
that the
Yeah.
receptionists could be very self-actualized already.
Yeah.
That means
Well,
they really enjoy doing
you're
it.
right,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah,
But in a different way
their
lah.
priority after 6 is
Mm.
their 4 kids.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
it's
Or
it's
6
the-
kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do know someone with an elderly mom who is sick, and she, from a very high position, became a receptionist.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
for that 3 years that she was thinking of mom.
Mm.
That after that, mom gone, so went back to
Yeah.
career ladder again.
Yeah.
So that's the low. Then the slightly higher one, right, is
Mm.
stability. Some people, they are not really about money anymore, but please don't like touch me, right? Don't ask me to do beach cleanup lah, this CSR lah. Like I just
Beach
I like
cleanup.
my life, very nice, very routine.
Why,
Tuesday
I like how
got
you
to-
name all the CSR because like, hey, this kind of company event, please. Don't ask me this kind of thing. I just do my job can already. Don't ask me Saturday morning, come back.
I was the CCA guy, so I went around asking people, then they give me like roll eyes kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I understand, okay, you want stability, I don't touch you. And
Yeah.
again, nothing wrong with that.
Nothing,
right?
yeah.
Then the third category, they love community events, right? The social kind of people. And then can you imagine a company with no birthday celebration,
Yeah.
no promotion celebration? They are going to like so toxic.
Feels weird,
They even call it toxic.
So cold.
So
Cold,
cold, so
clinical cold,
robotic, clinical, yeah. So again, like as a people leader, when we recognize, hey, this person actually likes, so
Yeah.
hey, why don't you rally us to have a bowling, whatever. Then on a higher level, right, this is the success one. Actually, I call it the 5S. I changed Maslow's words a little bit. So this one is a little bit tricky, right? Because we just use the word success in multiple ways just now.
Yeah.
Right, so this one really needs coaching, in my opinion. Right, the first 3 level, actually, you think about it, no need coaching. Yeah, but this one where he's feeling like, hey, I'm not feeling successful, and they compare, this one really needs coaching. Where we need to, okay, let's talk about me. So I used to compare a lot. Like wedding dinner, you can imagine, exchange name card. Because we meet each other maybe once every 5 years, ex-classmate. Then I said, CFO already. How come I'm only VP? Of course, I wouldn't say that. I was like, wow, congratulations, CFO.
Yeah.
But I go home, I really talk to my wife about it. I say, I might have failure. Then she say, can you stop going to wedding dinners?
Yeah. But now no need go wedding dinner. Facebook already show you.
Yeah. Last time, no
Friends
social
new car,
media.
friends new condo.
Well, now just scroll. You feel bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how come I only go to 2 holidays per year?
Yeah.
All these people
How come
go so-
only Bintan?
Yeah, how come only
I went Desaru. How come only
Egypt
Desaru?
lah.
I go Europe
I mean JB only.
Wow, then see the northern lights.
Yeah, only JB.
Well, Changi Village only.
Yeah, I go Desaru.
Sentosa.
More further than yours.
Further.
So this is the part I feel people go in circles, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, let's say I don't really know what it means to be successful. I thought maybe C-suite is successful.
Yeah.
Maybe a corner office is successful. Maybe buying BM or Mercedes is
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really talking about myself here. No judgment.
Yeah.
And then I realized, no, wait. After coaching, these are not successful.
Yeah.
Success is really seeing someone smile, seeing someone's eyes light up. I mean, very very abstract kind of thing. But inside me, I know, hey, I am now successful, right? I'm playing a different game.
Yeah.
Yes, you are chief of air force, you are CEO, but I am impacting lives. So you are successful, I'm successful,
Mm.
Yeah.
right? It's not a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
And then at the highest level, the S1 is self-actualization, which we talked about. That one is not just successful anymore, right? It's really like, am I living life fully?
Yeah.
You know, am I really, you know, for those who believe in God or Jedi Force or something, it's like, that force, that God, that deity, you know, am I pleasing him or her? Right? Wow, that is another state altogether, not just success anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So we, as people leader, every organization has these 5. But the challenge then is like, wow, how do I adapt policy training development so that all 5 feel like, I like this organization, so that I don't anyhow jump here, jump there. Wow, that's the challenge, I believe.
That's why soft
Yeah.
skills, being able to tell stories, to
Mm.
unpack. You don't just unpack for the sake of getting them to line up. You unpack your policy intent for the purpose of educating people how to look at the issue and to appreciate the policy or the new practice. And that's one gap as well. I see most of my clients, actually all the people, they're all nice people. There are some instances where I may coach 2 sides, 2 camps. And I know they're on opposite sides of the table. Actually, they are not bad people. Everyone's just trying to do their best based on what they understand from the context. And we have not used stories to unite, to help them see eye to eye. They are looking at different maps, so they can never come to agreement. So yes, 5S exists. How can the top leader or senior leaders unpack the intention behind all the policies in order to have this imperfect balance of 5 generations in the workplace? Everybody wants different things. Everybody is at different stages of sorting themselves out, understanding who they are, and that's okay. We just need to maintain that imbalance such that everything is perfectly functional, then we can move forward.
This reminds me of a rule that I only learned in the past 3 years, platinum rule. Because since young, we learn golden rule, right? You know, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's basic human dignity and respect. Yeah, but then what you just said is like, if 5 levels or 7 levels or whatever levels, you know, can you communicate to people the way they want to be communicated?
Yes.
Right? That's platinum rule. And it was like a huge eureka moment for me. Right? Because I am the sort who wants success since young. That's why I compare name cards during. But do my people, right? If I lead 20 people, do they?
They might not.
Yeah, they do want.
They might not.
Then I feel frustrated because I didn't know the platinum rule. I'll say like, hey, wake up, you know, grow, transform. Don't be so lepak.
Yeah.
What is lepak?
Relax.
Relax, one corner, chill, right?
Yeah.
Just go home, have dinner, no need. Some even reject promotion. Right, I remember when I was working in a bank and I was managing people reject promotion. I was like, hey, you
Cannot understand,
ungrateful fool.
Yeah.
But actually, they have reached a kind of stability and harmony, right? So who am I to judge? So I have to really, like what you said just now, mindset shift. Like, hey, wait a minute. Take Eugene Seah out of the picture, right? Talk to this person the way this person wants to be at. Yeah, the level of happiness.
Yeah.
So this is a new awakening for me.
Yeah. If I measure Eugene in that 5S, definitely successful. Because when I started, he was the one who asked me some tough questions to help me rethink how should I enter the market and start building my business. Because I've lost so much time. I cannot wait like another 10 years to figure out the business world. I needed like immediate exponential growth. And he asked the questions, he helped to reframe how I see things. That helped me focus my effort in the right way. And that's definitely not like a BM, a must that will measure your success. It is the impact you have on people.
Yeah. Thank you.
So very successful.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean also one very good way if you want to bring it down to a point in your life is that just before you die, and that's always a very heavy point, but yet the clearest point ever.
Yes.
And at the end of that, and that point, when you look at it, then what was most important in your career was most of the time is the impact. And coming back and let's try to land this plane now. when we talk about ideal career, we talked about seasons, and we talked about different people have different things. It's almost like ideal career is almost like you are leading 5 different animals, and
Yeah.
all their habitats are different, and all their wants is different. So I thought about this recently, is that most of the time we always think about the 3 most important things in life: health, relationship, wealth, right? You don't have you don't have health, you forget about everything else. So health was the most important when it comes to this. But then as we grow older, I feel that even now the generation is not only health, relationship, wealth, but this thing called joy as well. That means then for all these 4, it's all different things. And I give this analogy that you only have 7 liters of water and you have these 4 plants. Where do you want water? You want water all in wealth, then you have no health, you have no relationships, you have no joy, you have a job that sucks, but you pay the most. So you have 7 liters into that, everything else is dying.
Yes.
But if you want joy, then maybe you need to have a pay cut because you need to explore first.
Yeah.
So I take it in such a way that depends on what you want in these 4 things: health, relationship, wealth, and joy. And sometimes people are very fortunate that they have joy and wealth. And that's their pay, that's their passion. And some people are not fortunate, or some people, it's too drastic a move to do that because relationships, their kids are young and all that. I cannot move anywhere.
Yes.
And I just have to stick there. So relationship has 3 liters, wealth has 1 liter, and joy has nothing.
I have a alternative perspective to this. I see wealth as an outcome. So you still have the 7 liter and you pour water into relationships, joy and health. Yeah. I mean, reading books and watching videos, right? A lot of people did not aim to be wealthy, like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates and all that, but they ended up being the top 1%.
Yeah.
And of course there are exceptions, but I realized that if you pursue something really with all your heart and soul and joy, and the world enjoys it, of course, they must enjoy it. Even like we're talking about concert tickets and all that. These people really love singing. You can see them really pour in their heart and soul. They're perspiring, but they're enjoying themselves. They're not a job like, I have to sing today for 3 hours. No, they enjoy it. And clearly the audience enjoy it. That's why we pay hundreds or thousands of dollars. And then the wealth is the outcome to me. So actually, in my opinion, we don't have to pour water into wealth. I mean, of course, financial advisories would argue otherwise. But from my personal experience, as I pursue coaching instead of investment banking, I realized that actually right now, 2023, I'm earning more than investment banking. Back in those days. I said, wait a minute, I didn't even aim for that. But it was the outcome of pouring your heart and soul into something you love. And then, of course, you must be healthy. That one, take for granted.
I totally agree. The idea of passion that we have or joy that we have, if you're not world class in it, then forget about anybody paying you.
Yes.
But the thing about it also that 4 of us might have that fortune to pursue something we are passionate about. Most people might not. Right, and they're stuck in somewhere. And then it's like, maybe I can't. Any last words for anybody else?
For me, I think it's a journey. I think when I first started, I have a couple of mentors, so they always will remind me of this thing called delay gratification, because the space that I grew up in, we want things instantaneously, right? So even you start up, you want to see results like immediately. If I don't get that deal within like the first month, I need to close business kind of thing. That's why I think when people see me now, whereby I have certain level of flexibility and certain level of autonomy, it didn't happen to me overnight. It took me close to 10 years. So 10 years ago, I was still in my 20s. And at 20s, my friends are posting all the nice IG photos of traveling, and I'm spending every penny investing in myself. That's why I think it's important for us to realize that it is a journey. So if you want to talk about self-care, right, since it's such a big word now, I think part of self-care is understanding that you are at your own race. That's one thing. But I think another thing is you need to put in the hard work. You cannot expect things to fall on your lap. So my question to everyone will tell me I have no time. But my question is, if you really have that time, what were you actually doing? If I ask you to plot out your daily time schedule for 1 week, 2 weeks, or even a month, I can easily find a lot of pockets of time whereby it's not well spent. So a lot of people say, I need to watch Netflix to wind down. I need to do this to wind down. But actually, in today's context, actual rest means nothing of all this. Actual rest means you go and sleep.
Mm.
you don't binge watch and everything.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, I think we all have time. If you really want to figure out what you really like to do, and if you do not know it at this point in time, then you need to spend some time to invest to figure that out. Could be a pro bono project, could be a volunteer work. It could. I think you mentioned I think I caught one of your podcasts. What you did the 5 hours after your work is very important. I think
7 to 12.
7 to 12, right? Yeah, I think
that's
I
your
caught that.
golden hours. You have that.
So what do you actually do when you really have those time?
Yeah.
So I think that is very crucial. Yeah. So if you want a life that you desire, you really have. I don't come from a very, very rich and fortunate family, so I believe in the value of diligence and consistency. Yeah. Unless you are born with connections and everything, then of course, then your starting ground is different. But if you are not, then you working hard is a given. You have to work hard first. Yeah. So enjoy the journey. I think it's still important to enjoy the journey. And work with the right group of people. I think working with mentors or coaches is important. Yeah. That's all.
Right.
Yeah, my last words. My last words. And really have that joy for learning. I think get the priorities right. We don't learn so that we can get promoted. You learn something that gives you joy. And when you learn something that gives you joy, you get naturally so good at it that wealth will follow. I think the position, the angle must be correct. We cannot do it with that agenda. I must do MBA so that I get promoted. It doesn't happen. It's that lifelong learning, that truly learning for the sake of exploring. Be it learning about yourself, learning about subject matter, learning about the world. It will enhance you and enrich you as a person. And that's when wealth will naturally come to you. Because when you are so good, when you bring so much value to the world, everybody will want to come and work with you.
Yeah, there's this Jewish proverb that says, "Show me show me somebody who is a master of their craft, and because he will be before kings." So only if you're the best of the best and world class at something that you do, and it could be things that you are really passionate about, then you are very fortunate. It could be things that maybe you learned it along the way, and then you're still fortunate because you mastered it in such a way. It will bring you, and it will bring you that wealth, which is important also in the work that we do. Thank you everyone for your time today. I really enjoyed this discussion. It's really a coffee shop talk kind of thing. I really enjoy it.
Just no coffee, that's all.
Just no coffee, just water, right?
Water is healthier.
Agree.
So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jason.
you.